Hey guys, and welcome to a new video. Today, my second update on my Infernalist mbX Witch character, which is currently an Essence Drain Contagion, spellcaster. And this is my lovely demon form, which is like one of the main reasons why I even went Infernalist. And if you're wondering, why would you even pick the demon form? There is some pro and some cons, but I think for endgame it's probably not gonna be that great depending on what kind of stuff you're getting, because obviously the demon form grants you some insane stuff for the downside of losing your weapons basically. So we are currently level 52 and I just reached the second difficulty on Act 2 over here, so I haven't done anything here yet. Cat, please, thanks, video. Appreciate it. So I want to showcase a little bit here on the Act 1. So we're going to do the gameplay first, and then we're going to go over all the stuff that is necessary. Before that, we quickly going to go into this like kind of demon form. So what does it currently give? It does give me +5 to all spell skills, while in demon form we get 20% increased cast speed, but we lose 0.5% life per second per demon flame, and therefore we also deal 40% increased spell damage per demon flame. So that basically replaces our weapon. As you see, as long as I'm shapeshifted, I cannot use this weapon. So obviously the demon form is a lot stronger than the weapon that I currently have, but maybe in endgame. But I think the demon form also goes up to +6 or something, and there might be some uniques that maybe gonna work out with that, right? Or we can buff it later on with support gems to make it even stronger in comparison to your weapon. But the Infernalist does also have some other perks that we maybe can see later. For example, like the Infernal Hound, where 20% of the damage from hits taken is from your Hellhound before my own life, or other things with Ignite shenanigans or stuff like that. It is early access. I'm just here to try out things. And when I saw the demon form and the first shape-shifting skill, I said, like, we're gonna do that. Just as a small reminder, I am regenning a lot of life to permanently sustain this demon form. So basically, the demon flame is basically a stack that you get every single second, okay? And for every stack, I'm losing life, but I'm getting spell damage, right? This plus all skills and the cast speed is permanently, but you know, I'm just losing life for every second I'm in this form. And with the second node over here, the maximum 10 demon flame caps me out on that. So 5% life loss per second, but therefore, what is it like, what do we say? 14% increased spell damage times 10 is 140% increased spell damage. This caps me out, and these 5% I'm basically sustaining through the use case of my Blasphemy, the Spear with Vitality, so that's 1%. That's basically 2 stacks of Demon Flame recovered right here. Then I have a little bit here on the bottom side with life regeneration rate, which boosts my overall regen, both from percentage and flat life. Here a little bit of life regen, and I think somewhere on the top side or something as well. And on my gear I have stats with flat life regen. So I reached a point right now where I can permanently sustain that. I'm recovering like, I don't know, like 5 life per second, so I'm a little bit over that cap, but life regen is not bad at all. Good. Let's go somewhere here. Cemetery of the Eternals, doesn't really matter. Any zone is currently level 47 or something, so you see the current gameplay. Before we talk over the skills, my talent tree, and all that kind of stuff. So we are still in the same pace here. We use Contagion and we use Essence Drain, as well as Dark Effigy and the Hex Blast as additional damage with Profane Ritual. I know this sounds crazy and a lot of buttons, but realistically, most of the time I'm using 2 buttons, which is Contagion, Essence Drain. If there is a stronger monster around me, I'm popping here my totem. And while the monster has debuffs, for each debuff, this totem shoots out more projectiles, right? And I set it up the way that my my totem is having faster projectiles as well as Withering Touch. So my totem damage is not relevant, but it applies the Wither debuff, so the enemy takes increased chaos damage overall from my Essence Drain and all other sources, right? And the Hex Blast is basically a tool that I built in which is like consumes a curse but makes an explosion but deals a lot of damage, and I use this with Hourglass and Control Destruction. It cannot deal crits, I'm not a crit build so I don't care about that, but it deals 30% more damage, and the Hourglass gives it 40% more damage but gives it a 10-second cooldown, which is in one hand bad because I don't really want to spam the skill because it costs a lot of mana, and I don't really need the skill because Essence Drain is killing monsters. But what I use this tool for, the Hex Blast, is when I get surrounded by a shit ton of monsters and I know I'm probably gonna die here. Then I press my Hex Blast and it's surely gonna kill off half the packs and I can move out again, right? So this is my oh shit button, right? And it gives some additional damage in single target. So let's take a look at the gameplay. Basically, I'm just loading up like a bunch of monsters, then I use my Contagion and then my Essence Drain. As soon as a monster with Essence Drain dies, the Contagion transfer over the Essence Drain and all the other dots that I have on them to surrounding enemies, right? So that means I don't need to spam any kind of buttons. So usually I can just use my Essence Drain over here and drag those monsters around if they don't die that fast, basically. And if I drag these monsters now in a different pack, the Essence Drain Contagion just gets transferred over, right? So, for example, on a ritual, maybe I can showcase that, I only used one single Essence Drain Contagion and I clear out the entire ritual, because there is permanently monsters dying, but there is also permanently monsters respawning, right? But for tougher monsters, as I said, I'm putting down my totem, and you're gonna see now it has Contagion on there and Essence Drain, and the more dots are on there, the faster this thing shoots and loads up these withering debuffs on the enemy. On top of that, I'm using Blasphemy with Despair. So Despair is a curse that lowers the chaos resistance of the enemies, and I'm dealing only chaos damage. And I set this up with the Blasphemy support, so now instead of like hand casting the curse directly, I can use it as an aura for the cost of spirit, but therefore it has less curse effect, but I don't need to spam it, right? So basically all it does is as soon as a monster gets near me, it gets minus chaos resistance, so I'm dealing a lot more damage. And I also got on my skill tree later on increased area of effect and stuff like that for curses. So this one has a bigger aura because as a spellcaster I don't really want to stand in melee range all the time. I actually want to have a good time just running around. So here is a tougher monster, is a rear enemy. So what I'm doing here is basically just use my Essence Drain, Contagion, I put down my totem, and now I can basically just use my Hex Blast for additional damage. But as you see, the totem is shooting projectiles, and we're already having 50 Wither stacks on that enemy. Yeah, it's a Mana Siphon, so as soon as you stand in that range, it basically, yeah, loses out all your mana, right? So here is the situation. Now I would basically use my Hex Blast to get out of that situation to have like an easier time. But this is basically the current playstyle. Running around in this cold demon form, just Essence Drain, Contagion, watch stuff just degen, and use additional buttons just for single target to get some easier clears. But overall, I think is, yeah, a very smooth experience, I would say. It's not dealing insane amounts of damage, but since there's a lot of people always watching my stream and comparing their build to my build, whether they play a melee character, if they play Deadeye, if they play anything else, you know, they always ask me for my tree and stuff like that. Because they kind of want to replay the build that I'm playing, because they see that I'm actually having a good time. I have absolutely no comparison, please understand that. This is the first build that I play in Early Access, and I don't know how strong a Summoner is, I don't know how strong a melee character is, a Monk is, an Acolyte of Chayula, I have no idea. All I see is what I'm doing here, and it usually takes me 1 or 2 attempts, or tries basically, to finish any kind of like big boss, you know? I just run around and let the Essence Drain do the thing, and every 10 seconds I use a Hex Blast, so pretty low maintenance build once I have set up everything. Good. When it comes to the gearing part, this is kind of like a bit awkward, because I mean, it is kind of like ruthless in my opinion, right? So there is so few drops, no matter what it is, right? The biggest upgrades that I have are usually the uncut skill gems, but my Essence Drain is already level 12, Contagion level 12, the Profane Ritual that I can spawn on corpses basically, that I usually always forget, but I have it in case I will ever need it. is already level 12, dark effigy as well, so this is basically the stuff that I have. And for the gear, I'm still using a bunch of blue items just because I cannot get anything better. If we take a look at my stash tab, I have started to sort out everything with all the skill gems that I tried out, a bunch of ignite things. Here is my list of like basically the uncut skill gems, support gems that I tried out, uncut support gems, spirit gems that I have laying around, just to try out different things basically, right? But I still think that Essence Drain Contagion does the best job for me so far. And if you see on my currency here, transmutes, augmentations like 2 Chaos Orbs, 3 Regal Orbs, 2 Alchemy Orbs, it's literally not anything where I could say, hey, I'm gonna craft a lot of things, right? Here, since I just see it, the Jeweler Orb, the Lesser Jeweler Orb drops randomly, and what it does is it makes a 2-slotted skill gem, like Hexbus has 2 slots by default, right, like every other thing, into a 3-link, or a 4-link in that case. So using that one on any of these skill gems will add another socket. Problem is, there is not many sockets available, or at least like not many support gems. So if I take like any uncut level 2 support gems, you're gonna see, for example, on Essence Drain, there is not a lot that I can pick. It's literally 6 things, and obviously some are missing, and on top of that, you can only use a support gem once. So if I have Swift Affliction on my Essence Drain, I cannot use Swift Affliction on anything else. Obviously, there is the option to remove the show recommended gems, so there is still a bigger list, but the majority here is for melee attacks, is for bow characters, but there is also like projectile gems. This is like the little bit of a thinking out of the box. For example, Essence Drain, I'm using Chain for the easier clear, right? But this is more or less like a bow thing or a rocket launcher thing, whatever you want to call it. It doesn't really help my Essence Drain, but gives it a better feeling. The same way as, what was that green gem called? We know it as lesser multiple projectiles, and here it is Scatter Shot. It gives 2 additional projectiles, but you deal 20% less damage, which obviously helps a lot in your clearing. This is also things that you can apply on Essence Drain to make it a little bit better. But I'm missing kind of like the Void Manipulation or the Control Destruction, which does exist, but Control Destruction in PoE 2 works differently than it works in PoE 1. It does not count for your dots, basically, so it doesn't really, it's not really a damage upgrade whatsoever. Good. Next thing is, let's talk about my skill tree real quick. So the goal here was to get all the chaos damage nodes. So if you search for chaos, I have all the chaos damage nodes over here, the few over here. I took here the circle just to get some generic damage. And since Essence Drain is basically scaling its damage through spell damage as well. So if we take a look here on the damage over time tab, you see here modifiers to spell damage apply to debuffs damage over time. That means this has to be noted here. It doesn't work like this for Ignite, I think, but in the end of the day, if I scale spell damage, it will also increase the damage over time of my Essence Drain. So not only do I have like just generic increased chaos damage and skill effect duration to make the debuff last longer and deal more damage in both hit and dot, but also can use things like spell damage because it will also affect the Essence Drain. So my skill tree right here, and currently I'm moving over here to take like the next chaos cluster basically, and maybe some on the top side here, but it's basically chaos damage, it is spell damage, it is life regeneration to sustain my demon form, and now I opted in here for some more life regeneration rate, also for the demon form, and here some extra spell damage and skill effect duration. But this is basically my tree for now. There is like a bunch of stuff here that is minion and energy shield, but not really anything where it says damage over time or any chaos damage over time multiplier that we know it from Path of Exile 1. Good, let's take a look at my skill gem setup. So I have the Sigil of Power coming from a weapon which is useless because I'm not using that. It's just like the one that I have over here, right? Then we have the Demon form, which is currently a bit buggy in my opinion because, for example, Vitality can be supported by the Demon form, right? It is a permanent buff, and if I put this one away, you see that this one lights up. But if I put it over here, this doesn't work. For example, if I don't have 20 spirit, it does not let me go into demon form, right? But if I go into demon form with more than 20 available, it just doesn't reserve it, so it just doesn't work overall. It's probably a bug that has to be fixed, but I figured out that I can use my vitality in my blasphemy setup and still get the same effect. That's why I don't really have any stuff in my demon form that I could potentially power up later on once we figure out more stuff or there is more available, because as of right now, there is the demon form. These are the ones stuff that I can use. Herbalism, cooldown recovery rate, I don't need. I'm permanently in this form. Mana regeneration rate, what do I need that for? With Essence Drain Contagion, I'm never running out of mana, and that's basically it. Like, there is support gems that are coming soon, so they're just not available, and that's why my skill gems here are empty. Good. So then we have Contagion with Magnified Effect, which is the increased area of effect, with Arcane Tempo for more cast speed, and Unleash. This basically means that it loads up over time, and then I cast 2 Contagions at once, which just smoothens out the experience for killing large monster types, right? Because I need to kill something with Contagion on to make it spread. So if there is 2 targets with Contagion and my Essence Drain is also chaining, there is a very, very, very high chance that I'm killing one of the Contagion monsters that spread the entire plague around and kill off the rest of the pack. Then I have Essence Drain with Chain, Swift Affliction, and Intense Agony. I'm not too sure how this kind of works, because it says supported skills deal 50% more damage on full life, basically, but it's not specified. So if I alt-click here, you see that debuffs has a text here, full life does not have a text. We have ailment attacks, we have spells attacks, there is also one for low life, but full life is not described, right? In PoE 1, it was somewhere around 95 plus or something, right? So I don't really feel any damage difference. This might be that this is like permanently active because my main damage source is a dot and it's not gonna get hit, so it still like snapshots the kind of damage, or it just never really worked and I just never really felt it. There is like nothing that I can really test it on, right? I just put it in because there is nothing else that I could potentially use here on my Essence Drain. Hinder is just a slow. Intense Agony is the one that we just talked about. Persistence with more skill effect duration. I'm actually, every couple seconds I'm casting Essence Drain, so it's permanently active anyways. I don't play with minions, and the rest is like support gem level 3 with Chaos Mastery that I might take later on, but at the moment, I just don't have anything else to do, and I personally, as I said, don't really feel a difference if I have this gem in or not, but 50% more damage if it works with snapshotting is a lot of damage. Then the Profane Ritual, which is basically my corpse skill that I never really use because I always forget. It's basically just another dot area on the ground where you get power charges if it fades out, basically, right? So if there is a monster, but usually on bosses where I need additional damage, there's usually just no corpses around anyways, right? So really, yeah, I have it because it works and it deals chaos damage over time, but barely ever am I using that, so you can basically just skip that overall. Dark Effigy, the totem that I already explained. If I have multiple dots on a target, the more dots, the faster it shoots, or the more projectile it shoots, and it gives the monster the Withered debuff, and this is basically, Withered applies 5% increased chaos damage taking, right? Up to 10 times, so that's 50% increased chaos damage taken. And this is not an increased damage for Essence Drain, this is all sources of chaos damage that the monster is getting is basically increased by 50% more, basically, because the monster is taking more damage, right? Then we have Blasphemy, which is basically turns my curse into an aura with reduced effect with the Spear and the Vitality, and the Hex Blast, as explained early on, with the Hourglass and Control Destruction to have this oh shit button, basically, right? Gearing wise, I can't really say a lot. I'm trying to get life resistance, life regeneration, and a good amount of energy shield, so I'm trying to figure out that I get energy on almost every of my pieces. So, because the thing is, in this demon form, you're losing life, and this is always about your maximum life. So the idea is, if we get a low life pool, I'm not degenning a lot, and a little bit of life regen will basically fix everything as long as I get my energy shield high enough, right? But at the moment, as I'm not having enough skill points to actually get a lot of points into energy shield, and it's the ES values of my items are a lot lower, means we need to figure out another way. At the moment, it's working. I'm barely ever dying. Obviously, I'm dying a lot because it's freaking Path of Exile 2. It's like way harder in the campaign. So my death counter right now is 49. And I have a total of 19,000 monsters killed in these 50 levels. But knowing that this is like very hard, and you probably, if you played yourself, have realized that, I think 49 deaths so far and in Act 5 is actually not that bad. Good. Anything else to explain here about the early access state? What I ranted already is with missing skill support gems and missing skill gems and stuff like that, and things are buggy and stuff like that. It's okay, it's playable, it is fun, but it is hard to play, okay? The monsters are hard, the bosses are hard, feels like a Souls-like game sometimes, but I don't really have any comparison to any other builds, and maybe there is builds that just one-shot everything, and I just feel good about my build because I don't know anything else. But the chat always says my build is like pretty good, solid overall. It's not insane in single targets, not insane in survivability, but the overall package of my build works, so I guess I'm doing a decent job when it comes to that. But there is one thing that I want to change, so this is probably maybe gonna be the last update for Essence Drain Contagion at itself, because there is one skill or one thing that I really want to try out, and this is Ignite Flame Blast. So let me quickly take one of my uncut skills over here just to open this window here. At level 13, I have not found one yet. This is like level 11, at 12 even, right? So soon, probably somewhere in Act 5, I'm gonna find the first level 13 gems, which opens up the next skills that you barely can see, but you can see it. Skeletal Brute, Skeletal Cleric, Soul Offering, but more importantly, on the elemental skills, we have Flame Blast, we have Eye of Winter, we have Lightning Conduit, right? And I think, I was always thinking about, if you remember my first videos about this character, Infernalist Ignite something, right? And I really want to try out Ignite with Flame Blast. I think Flame Blast is going to be an insane skill for that, in combination with the Solar Orb. Fireball feels kind of good. I tried a little bit. Firestorm is okay. I didn't like Incinerate too much, but in the end of the day, I tried out all of these skills with a complete Chaos Tree. I did not revamp all my Chaos Gem skills and put them into fire increases and ignite increase and stuff like that, but I want to figure out how this ignite stuff works. So I assume as soon as I get a level 13, I'm gonna take Flame Blast, see how it feels like, the channeling aspect and so on and so forth. And if I say, hey, I like that, then I'm probably gonna invest like 100,000 gold or whatever to respec all of these chaos things, and go into all the fire skills over here with all the chance to ignite, ignite deals damage faster and so on, and try to see how that one feels like. Is the damage better? Is the clearing better? Is everything worse? So I can give you an update on the ignite journey maybe tomorrow, because if ignite is gonna be shit, then obviously I need to farm gold again to revert to the Essence Drain Contagion version that I know for the current version basically works. But, you know, early access, lots of things to test, lots of things to figure out, but I feel like on the current version, I'm missing a lot of chaos damage clusters, and I need so many levels to actually get to other ones, and they're not even that insane. So you can probably opt in for increased curse effect, so your Despair aura lowers even more chaos resistance to get some extra damage out of it, right? Or maybe there's just some support gems missing, and so on and so forth, but yeah. Enough yapping, enough talking about the current build. So, another 12-hour stream done, and I'm gonna go take a nap now, upload the video, and then we're gonna see us again live on stream. The VODs are both on Twitch and on YouTube. If you want to follow my progress and want to check something about the bossing or anything, then feel free to check that one out. And yeah, thanks for tuning in, thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.